alaikum. Dear students, BAMC 7, first year students of Bashundhara Ad-din Medical College. I am Professor Dr. ABM Omar Faruque, Professor and Head, Department of Anatomy. My today class is Introduction of the Nervous System. Already you have informed that our last card is Central Nervous System and Eyeball. To achieve this card, there is a first class or first topics of this card is Introduction of the Nervous System. Now, I am going to discuss the preliminary and top priority information about the introduction of the nervous system. At first, you should know the nervous tissue. You should know the nervous tissue. So, we know that we have 4 types of basic tissue. Number 1, epithelial tissue. Number 2, connective tissue. Number 3, muscular tissue, and last number 4, nervous tissue. In this card, we should know first the composition of nervous tissue. Composition of nervous tissue. In nervous tissue, there are 2 main types of cell. 2 main type of cell or 2 cells comprises the nervous tissue. Number 1, main excitable cell called neuron. Main excitable cell called neuron. And number 2, supporting cell, non-excitable supporting cell, neuroglia. Non-excitable supporting cell, it is called neuroglia. So, neuron and neuroglia, this is the basic fundamental cells of nervous tissue. And number 3, to give nutritional support to neuron and neuroglia, we need another structure, it is called blood vessels. So, blood vessel is connective tissue, but it is a part of, it makes the support to the nervous tissue. So, blood vessel is a connective tissue, but it comprises the nervous tissue. Am I clear to you? So, if examiner asks you what are the cells present in nervous tissue, you should say neuron and neuroglia. Neuron is excitable, neuroglia is non-excitable and supporting. Am I clear to you? Examiner may ask you what is the non-nervous tissue present in nervous tissue. What are the non-nervous tissue present in nervous tissue? Blood vessel, it is connective tissue. Example is blood vessel is connective tissue. In this session, it is a preparatory session for this card. So, I have included my assistant professor Dr. Farzana Khanum and also my lecturers Dr. Faisal, Dr. Asif. It is introductory information, how to run the class, how to run the card and how to summarize the whole topics. After my session, you will able to understand how you will complete the card. What topics you should touch. Am I clear to you? Then my second subtopics, subdivisions of nervous system. Subdivisions of nervous system. Already Dr. Farzana ma'am have described about that top information to you, but I will just give it more emphasis which topics you should know in for Viva and also in item card. Nervous system is 2 parts, central nervous system, in short we should say CNS, and peripheral nervous system, it is called PNS. Okay. So, this card comprises the CNS and eyeball. So, CNS means brain and spinal cord. Now, this is the brain. So, CNS means brain and spinal cord, this is called brain. Although there is cerebellum absent, if I connect the cerebellum, it is called brain, this is the brain. The whole structure is called brain. In undergraduate level, we have to know the subdivisions of brain. Brain has 3 parts, forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. but intermediate level we have already learned that cerebrum, cerebellum, midbrain, pons, medulla, but in medical college you have to summarize this. You have to say standard answer, forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. This is the brain and this is the spinal cord. In tutorial classes, my honorable lecturers will give you the brief description about the spinal cord. So, CNS means brain and this is the spinal cord, collectively called CNS, central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. So, central nervous system consists of brain. So, brain has three parts, forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Already madam has summarized the how many parts of forebrain, how many parts of midbrain, how many parts of hindbrain. But in this class I am going to add some additional information. The forebrain has two cavity. The forebrain has two cavity. The forebrain has two cavity. This cavity is called ventricle. The cavity is called ventricles. The ventricle term is popular to you, but because you have gone through the heart. Heart is active and ventricle, but this ventricle is different thing. But ventricle term is familiar to you. So, forebrain has two ventricle, lateral ventricle and third ventricle. Okay. When Dr. Moshwi madam will learn you the CSF and ventricular system, you will know the elaborately. But in this class, introductory class, you should know there are two ventricles present under the cover of forebrain, lateral ventricle and third ventricle. Next, midbrain. The cavity of midbrain is called cerebral aqueduct. The cavity of midbrain is called cerebral aqueduct. Midbrain cavity is called cerebral aqueduct. Then hindbrain. The cavity of hindbrain is called fourth ventricle. Name of the hindbrain cavity is called fourth ventricle. So, we have number 1 lateral ventricle, then third ventricle, then cerebral aqueduct, then fourth ventricle. All ventricles are filled with a special type of fluid. It is called cerebrospinal fluid. We shall learn it briefly and elaborately in ventricular system of the brain, but in this class this information is enough. So, ventricle is filled of cerebrospinal fluid. You may know that every viscera has artery supply, venous drainage, nerve supply, lymphatic drainage, but brain has low lymphatic drainage. Brain has low lymphatic drainage. Instead of lymphatic drainage, it is rich in CSF. Am I clear to you? So, brain has a special type of fluid, it is called CSF. Next, there are some important structure or topics or identity present in central nervous system and eyeball. You should know some special term. Number 1, grey matter. Number 2, white matter. Number 3, ganglia. Number 4, nucleus. Grey matter, white matter, ganglia, nucleus. Synapse, receptor, and finally reflex. These are included in general neuroanatomy. You should know their definition, structure, type or function. To start the CNS and eyeball card, you should know this. And finally, for this session, you should recapitulate the cranial nerves which we have completed in head and neck card superficially. You should recapitulate, you should review the cranial nerves. So, for this class, I will give a special information for cranial nerves. Already Dr. Moshwi madam has elaborately described you the type, origin, mode of function, area of function and effect of lesion. But in this class, I will give a short summary about cranial nerve you should know. first and second cranial nerve is attached to forebrain. First and second cranial nerve is attached to forebrain. Third and fourth, I mean oculomotor and trochlear attached to midbrain. Am I clear to you? First and second, forebrain. Second and third, midbrain. Fifth cranial nerve, pons, attached to pons. 6, 7, 8, pontomedullary junction. 6, 7, 8, pontomedullary junction. I mean junction between pons and medulla oblongata. And finally, 9, 10, 11, 12. This cranial nerve is attached to the medulla oblongata. 9, 10, 11, 12 is attached to 9, 10, 11, 12 attached to medulla oblongata. So, finally, this information give a summary in front of you that forebrain is responsible for first and second, midbrain responsible for third and fourth, and hindbrain responsible for 5 to 12. Am I clear to you? In next class, in cranial nerves class, I will discuss everything in front of you. And that's end of my class, and this is the basic and top priority information prior to start the CNS enable card. I hope that you have enjoyed and summarized all my information which I have given. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.